Thank you for turning in to this haunting story of a ghost that used to appear near Pearl City near the edge of the Wabash. This ghost was thought to have been the ghost of Mike Rich. Mike Rich was on a houseboat in that area playing cards with two other people. Something went bad. Those other two people cut Mike Rich's throat from ear to ear. This ghost had been seen by police officers back then, business people. There were people coming from different areas to Vincennes to see these ghostly apparitions. But stay tuned for these ghostly stories. This is a haunting tale about a ghost who appears sometimes down by Pearl City along the Wabash. The ghost of Mike Rich, an Italian employee of Black Hawk Company, was found dead near the gas plant with his jugular severed. A little about the man. Rich, the murdered man, had been in Vincennes the past several months, employed by the Black Hawk Light and Power Company, digging trenches for the laying of the gas main. He was not a heavy drinker and was known to have no enemies, and being a jolly fellow, always making friends, and was the source of a life among other workmen around the hotel where he stopped. He left the hotel at about 4:30 after drinking a glass of beer and was seen no more until the murdered body was found laying where it had fallen, the street by the side door of the gas plant. And these are tales of sightings of his ghost, or what people back then believed was his ghost. They saw the ghost again, reported by a muscle digger around March 13, 1908, resident of a houseboat near where Mike Rich was killed. For the second time, the story is current that an old muscle digger who lives in a houseboat near where Mike Rich was murdered a week prior has seen Rich's ghost, and that it has been playing pranks around the riverbank. The alarm was sounded by a man the night before, and a number of people went down to the phenomena, but so far, as has been learned, no one saw the ghost except the old man. The people in the neighborhood of the houseboat settlement are spending sleepless nights of late, as it is reported the ghost of Rich seldom fails to appear when the shades of night have fallen. An interesting story come to the Western Sun by a young man that was an eyewitness that Officer Woods shot at a ghost. A crowd of people were attracted a few nights prior to the site of the gas plant where the killing of Mike Rich occurred on the evening of February 29, 1908, by a report that the ghost of Rich was to be seen. The crowd assembled in the doorway of the gas plant and waited for a long time for the ghost to appear, and were about to leave the place in disgust when there was a surprise to see a bright light coming from some place near the river. The light was high in the air and moved slowly but steadily in the direction of the plant. When within about 20 yards of the doorway, it turned and retreated for several yards, became stationary a few moments, then began to move in a circle. These maneuvers of the light took several minutes, and the watchers from the doorway of the gas plant were breathless with fright. The only claim person in the crowd was a patrolman Wood, who, after watching the light for some time, stepped outside and placed 3 shots in the midst of it. When the shots were over, no light was to be seen, and a careful search of the place near which the light had been revealed nothing extraordinary. The ghost stories from the river are becoming a part of the folklore of Vincennes people, as hardly a night passes which is not marked by some phenomenon. Mike Rich's ghost has some staying power. The old-timers of January 17, 1935 are wondering if Mike Rich's ghost is walking again. Visitation upon last inhabitant of Pearl City is awaited. The ghost of Mike Rich, fisherman slain 27 years prior, is believed to have returned. Strange light rising from the Wabash River in the vicinity of Pearl City, now being evacuated by the city, have been reported by fishermen during the past few days, and some of the old-timers along the riverfront declare it is the ghost of Rich, returned, caring for vengeance against his brutal murderers. There are many among the older residents who recall the stories of the return of the ghost of Rich for several nights after his murder on a houseboat near Pearl City. One April night in 1908, the stories attracted thousands of people to the spot at nights, but the ghost failed to parade itself before the large audiences. Seeking the quiet of night when only a few persons living in houseboats along the river could witness the spectacle. The murder of Rich was one of the most brutal in the annals of criminal history in Vincennes. August Craves, known as Monk Marone, and John DeMoss were arrested, tried for the murder, and served sentence in state prison. At the trial, it developed that the 3 living on a houseboat opposite side of the old glass plant quarreled over a poker game. Disappointed, and Rich started a fight. He was overpowered by the other 2, and his throat was cut with a butcher knife from ear to ear. Rich made his way from the houseboat, starting for town to get medical aid, but he became weak and loss of blood and fell inside the door of the gas plant and died. His body was found by the watchman and police were notified. Abe J. Westfall, father of Oscar E. Westfall, deputy sheriff, was sheriff at that time. Westfall, notified of the murder, obtained some bloodhounds. The dogs took up the trail from the dead man's body and led officers to the riverbank where the houseboat had been moored, but the boat was gone. Sheriff Westfall and A.H. Cruz, then police captain, started down the river in a gasoline boat and finally located the houseboat. Graves was intoxicated when the officers found him. DeMoss was missing. Several weeks later, he was captured in Danville, Illinois, by officers who tracked him to the post office where he received a decoy letter. Both were tried and sentenced to prison. The story of Rich's ghost spread far and wide. People came from a distance to view the mysterious light, which was reported to have risen slowly from the river at the point where the murder took place. Fishermen moved their houseboats, and those living in the shacks along the riverfront in the neighborhood of the reported ghost visits moved elsewhere. Finally, the story was forgotten. In Pearl City, a village of dry goods, boxes, and tin hovels was built. The county poorhouse was also erected near that site. Recently, the city ordered evacuation of Pearl City, forcing families to vacate their insanitary homes, some of them moving into Sunset Court, a model village constructed as a relief project. Only one inhabitant of Pearl City refused to move. He was successfully resisted pleas and threats, but those who know him express belief that the return of the ghost of Mike Rich will cause him to desert the present abode.